Life on Earth is a spectacle of extraordinary diversity. From the towering redwoods to the microscopic bacteria, every living thing is a product of millions of years of evolution. Evolution is the process of change in all forms of life over generations. It is the unifying theory of biology, explaining the incredible variety and interconnectedness of all living organisms. The theory of evolution by natural selection is one of the most powerful ideas in science. It was first proposed by Charles Darwin and Alfred Russel Wallace in the mid-19th century. They observed that individuals within a population vary in their traits. They also saw that those with advantageous traits are more likely to survive and reproduce. This process, known as natural selection, drives the evolution of species. Over vast stretches of time, small changes accumulate. These changes can lead to the emergence of new species. Evolution is not a linear progression towards perfection. It is a branching process, with species adapting to their unique environments. The study of evolution allows us to understand the history of life on Earth. It helps us to see the connections between all living organisms. It also provides insights into the mechanisms that drive the development of new traits and species. Evolution is a continuous process shaping the natural world around us even today. Let's address some common misconceptions about evolution. Evolution is just a theory. The term theory in science doesn't imply uncertainty. It signifies a well-supported explanation based on evidence. The theory of evolution is as robust as the theory of gravity. Evolution violates the second law of thermodynamics. This misconception assumes that evolution contradicts entropy, disorder. However, Earth isn't a closed system. It receives energy from the sun, allowing local decreases in entropy. Humans evolved from monkeys. Humans and modern monkeys share a common ancestor. We didn't evolve directly from any existing monkey species. Evolution is purely random. While mutations are random, natural selection acts non-randomly. Beneficial traits increase an organism's chances of survival and reproduction. There are no transitional fossils. The fossil record contains numerous transitional fossils, for example, Tiktaalik, Archaeopteryx, showing gradual changes between species. Evolution always leads to complexity. Evolution doesn't inherently favor complexity. Simplicity can be advantageous too, for example, bacteria. Irreducible complexity disproves evolution. Irreducible complexity claims that certain structures couldn't evolve step by step. However, gradual adaptations can lead to complex systems. Evolution explains the origin of life. Evolution explains biodiversity, but not life's origin. Abiogenesis theories explore life's beginnings. Evolution is purpose-driven. Evolution lacks intent or purpose. Adaptations occur due to environmental pressures, not a predetermined goal. Evolution is anti-religious. Many religious individuals accept evolution. It's compatible with various faiths. Natural selection is the driving force of evolution. It acts on the variations that exist within any population of organisms. These variations arise from random genetic mutations, providing the raw material for evolutionary change. Individuals with traits that make them better adapted to their environment are more likely to survive. They are also more likely to reproduce and pass on their advantageous traits to their offspring. Over time, these beneficial traits become more common in the population. This process leads to the gradual adaptation of species to their surroundings. The environment plays a crucial role in natural selection. It determines which traits are beneficial and which are not. Changes in the environment, such as climate change or the arrival of new predators, can create new selection pressures. These pressures can drive the evolution of new adaptations. Natural selection is not about becoming stronger or better. It is about becoming better suited to the specific challenges of a particular environment. Traits that are beneficial in one environment may be detrimental in another. This constant interplay between variation and selection is the engine of evolutionary change. The evidence for evolution comes from many different sources. One of the most compelling lines of evidence comes from the fossil record. Fossils are the preserved remains or traces of ancient organisms, providing a glimpse into the history of life on Earth. Fossils show a clear progression of life forms over time. They document the emergence of new groups of organisms and the extinction of others. By studying fossils, we can trace the lineages of present-day organisms back through time, revealing their evolutionary relationships. Another powerful line of evidence comes from DNA comparisons. All living organisms share a common genetic code. The degree of similarity in DNA sequences between different species reflects their evolutionary relatedness. Closely related species have more similar DNA than distantly related species. DNA comparisons allow us to construct evolutionary trees, showing the relationships between different groups of organisms. These trees are remarkably consistent with the relationships inferred from the fossil record. Together, fossils and DNA provide overwhelming evidence for the shared ancestry of all living organisms. They paint a vivid picture of the grand tapestry of life, woven together by the threads of evolution. The Toolkit of Evolution. Evolution is driven by a variety of mechanisms, all acting on the genetic makeup of populations. Mutations, random changes in DNA sequence, are the ultimate source of genetic variation. These mutations can introduce new traits into a population. Gene flow, the movement of genes between populations, can also introduce new variations. Genetic drift, random fluctuations in the frequencies of genes within a population, can lead to the loss or fixation of traits, particularly in small populations. Natural selection acts on this pool of genetic variation. It favors traits that enhance survival and reproduction in a given environment. These mechanisms work together to shape the evolutionary trajectory of species. They can lead to the diversification of lineages, the adaptation of populations to new environments, and the formation of new species. The interplay of these mechanisms makes evolution a dynamic and complex process. It is a process that is constantly shaping the living world around us. Taking to the skies. The evolution of flight in birds is a remarkable example of natural selection at work. The ancestors of birds were small, feathered dinosaurs. Over millions of years, they evolved a suite of adaptations that enabled them to take to the skies. One key adaptation was the development of wings. Feathers, initially used for insulation or display, gradually evolved into aerodynamic surfaces capable of generating lift. Another crucial adaptation was the evolution of lightweight bones. Hollow bones reduced the weight of the bird, making flight easier. The development of a powerful heart and lungs provided the energy and oxygen needed for sustained flight. These adaptations did not arise overnight. They evolved gradually over countless generations, driven by the selective pressures of the environment. The evolution of flight illustrates the power of natural selection to shape complex traits. It highlights the remarkable ability of life to adapt and diversify, filling even the most challenging ecological niches. A never-ending story. Evolution is not a thing of the past. It is an ongoing process shaping the living world even today. As environments change, species must adapt to survive. We can see evolution in action in the emergence of antibiotic-resistant bacteria. We can see it in the changing migration patterns of birds in response to climate change. We can even see it in the evolution of new viruses. Understanding evolution is crucial for addressing many of the challenges facing humanity. It is essential for developing sustainable agricultural practices. It is vital for combating infectious diseases. It is critical for conserving biodiversity in a rapidly changing world. Evolution is the grand unifying theory of biology. It provides a framework for understanding the interconnectedness of all living organisms.